Criticizing without being critical. To criticize is a verb that means to identify negative things. To be critical can be a person who tends to find fault. Why do people criticize? Sometimes it can be because they mean well. The individual who is being criticized should seek the value in what was said instead of reacting to the way in which it was said. Some people criticize because they are just pessimists. In such cases, individuals should just pretend that they are an imaginary Scotch guard and let it roll off. Now, that's easier said than done because words have power to hurt and words have power to heal. Some people criticize for pure revenge, they bask in your mistakes. In such cases, one can ask the question, how can I be helped? What solution can you offer to aid me to be a better person? In other words, you're using the critique for a change. Be humble when a criticism is leveled against you. Now, that's easier said than done. But the thing is, if we are seeking growth, we are seeking improvement, we would try at all counts to ensure that what is said is understood so that one can be a better person. So let's look at three ways in which criticism is done. One, it brings awareness. Two, it helps you to assess yourself. And three, it allows you to take action. When a criticism is leveled at you, you become aware of the problem. As you're aware of the problem, we should start now to assess the validity of what was said. Ask yourself the question, is it something that I did before? Is my critic an expert in the field? Does he or she has reasonable standards? Is this criticism about me? And as you ask these questions, you'll be able to assess the situation to make the necessary changes for growth. And here's where you'll take action. Decide, what do I do to improve on what was said to me? And there's where you make the necessary changes based on what was said. Let's look at Revelation 2 1 to 4. Jesus speaking to Ephesus as he addressed the first church, I know thy works, and thy labor, and thy patience, and how thou canst bear with them that are evil, and thou hast tried them which say they are apostles and are not, and hast found them to be liars, and hast borne and hast patience, and for my name's sake has labored and has not fainted. Nevertheless, I have somewhat against thee, because thou hast left thy first love. So, in that case, Jesus complimented the Ephesians. After the compliment, he made them aware of the thing that was problematic. So it's up to them, with that awareness, to do an assessment, an introspection, see where they are in the process, then take action. The same goes for you and I. Individuals are going to say things to us sometimes, and we feel offended, and quite rightly so. But I want us to take time in the midst or in the throes of that offense to stop, because we would have become aware of what they said. So we want to critically think it through rather than react negatively. We do an assessment. What she just said, am I that person? Did I do that? And as we make that assessment, it's time for action. Now, it's never easy for a criticism to be leveled at us and we just gladly turn to make a change. It's never easy. But here's where humility comes in. So we have to ask Christ to help us as we assess the situation to take the action necessary to improve as an individual. So, some basic things we'll need to do in that process as we take action is to control our emotions. And we can't do that on our own. So, we have to ask Christ to help us to control our emotions at that very moment when we are criticized. Then we act professionally. Then we move on to define our expectations. What am I going to do? What am I expected to do? And again, through Christ, we can do all things. So we ask Him for help and ask Him also to help us to have a positive attitude with what was said. Find solutions to the problem. And from there, we're going to develop a plan of action that will enable us to be a better individual from where we were before. So may God help you and I to be humble enough to take criticisms that will come our way today or at any time and assess as we become aware, take the necessary action to be the individuals God would have called us to be. God is waiting to help us through this process. Have a great day.